morning, ladies and gentlemen. 안녕하세요. I was just informed yesterday that I had to present this like in 20 minutes. I normally present it in 60 minutes, so I was going to talk fast. Then my interpreter came up to me like a few minutes ago and said, you have to talk slowly. So this is a big challenge for me. And there's a mad professor looking at the time over there. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to dive into my presentation. I'm from a private sector. I used to work for a consulting firm called McKinsey & Company. And my trainer used to teach me how effective this business framework is. And I used to think that's bullshit, this is another way of making money for a consulting firm. But when I use it to basically design my organization and my business, it's actually quite powerful. So I'm going to explain to you our business along this original framework. We call it 5P. The first P represents purpose. Why are we doing this? On this planet, there's 6.8 billion people. Now, 6.9, 6.8. Of which a billion people suffers from obesity by simply eating too much food. But there's another billion people who suffers from hunger. If you think about it, it's very ironic. One side eating too much food, the other side not getting enough food for a day. And with advanced people's knowledge, technology, this is a stupid problem. You have to solve it. Next few slides illustrate this disparity. This is the United States. The food you see in the slide is consumed by average-sized family in the United States for 1 week. If you look at that, David, it's a lot of food. Embarrassing, yeah. But look at my country, Japan. We consume tons of food as well. If you go around the globe and go to a country called Chad in Africa, this is the amount of food, this is the food they get for 1 week. And as you know, the average size family in Africa is way larger than ours. Normally the size of family, the members consist like 7 or 8 family members. So our mission is to balance this imbalance of food distribution. By what? By how? We designed a very simple system, as you can see in the slide. On the top-hand side is developed countries, as I mentioned, people who suffer from obesity. Normally, we work in a corporate cafeteria. So if you go to the cafeteria during lunch hours, you see the sign called the table for two. And it's actually a meal designed to meet the criteria listed in the yellow bubble. It's basically a healthy menu. Low calorie, 10-20% less than the calorie normally consumed in a day. And also nutritionally balanced. So it's a healthy meal. So if you continue to eat that, your health improves. And you're going to actually lose your weight. That's the first point. And secondly, we add, in the US, 25 cents. Here, in Korea, 251 to a price of a meal you pay for it. So you pay extra charge in the United States, 25 cents. And that 25 cents becomes a donation and gets sent to a school in Africa. And in Africa, you can actually provide a nice hot meal with that 25 cents. So if you use your imagination, it's almost like you sharing a meal over a table beyond the time and space. So we call it's table for two. Two meaning that you and another child in Africa. It's very romantic, isn't it? There's actually a dating service in the United States called Table for Two, but we are different. Characteristics of the TFT program. Table for 2 is very long, so we shorten it and say TFT. First, anyone can participate. Even extremely busy, business people, they have to eat lunch. So with goodwills, anyone can basically participate. They just simply have to go to the cafeteria and choose this meal, and that's already you are giving back something to the community. Also, this is different from traditional charitable giving. It's actually benefits both sides. You're giving a meal to child who desperately in need of food, but also your health improves by participating in this program. And also it's very simple and also easy to continue. It's not extreme diet. You basically consume 10 to 20% less calories than normally. So it's not extreme diet. So it's easy to continue. We founded our organization in 2007, and after 3 years after inception, we have delivered over 5 million meals to schools in Africa. And that could actually feed 23,000 students in Africa. As I said, there's a merit for both sides. So in Japan, we reduced 144 tons of fat, which is equivalent of 574 sumo wrestlers. The fat is gone, disappears from our country. Next P represents partnering. As you may know, partnering is very, very critical to build your social business. First partnership is basically corporate cafeterias. We have signed up over 300, now it's 350 organizations in Japan. And that spread across almost like all over Japan. It started in Tokyo, but now it's all over Japan. Spread across 37 basically states or a prefecture, as you like. And as location-wise, we have 660 locations. And this is the fastest growing social movement and the largest social movement in the recent history of Japan. As for private sectors, you probably recognize some of the names of 350 organizations. 70 to 80% are private companies. And it's not only private companies, we have government participations. In Korean term, it's a blue house, but we call it Kokai Gijito. It's a parliament house. They have also cafeteria and actually adopted our program. Politicians, they love our system because it's simple. They're not as smart people as you would think, they like simple systems. It's also adapted in schools, universities. We have 50 schools doing TFT, and this is mainly driven by students. You wouldn't imagine how passionate and how actionable they are. Now we are going beyond the space of corporate cafeteria and started partnering with retailers and restaurants and cafes. I'll show you some of the examples. First, we started off with a famous pronounced chef called Mikuni. He's a French chef, or he's Japanese, but focused on French food. He approached us and said, "I want to help you." And we are very moved by his generous offer, because he's very respected chef in the community of restaurant industry. So by him taking initiative, it changed the whole atmosphere. And that actually has led to this big partnership. Denny's, I'm sure Denny's doesn't really represent healthy food in the United States, but they do offer a healthy line of food in Japan, and they have over 450 stores in Japan and offered TFT healthy meals for a month. And also, we involved this famous soccer player, Hidetoshi Nakata. He has his own cafe in central downtown Tokyo, and he also adapted our system. Bento box, for those who don't equipped with a cafeteria, they can just order in TFT bento boxes. Also, convenience stores, they have chains of stores. One is called the 3F 665 stores, and they designed original TFT bento and salad. You may probably be familiar with this brand in Korea, Family Mat. They designed original TFT branded products. The vending machine, so we offer healthy drinks, and this is the same system. And as you can see, it's locked by TFT concept and photos. Wedding, if you're have a girlfriend or fiance, please consider it. Why do these companies help us, want to partner with us? Because it actually helps their business. I'll show you two examples. One is a campaign we did it with a convenience store chain, and we just rebranded pre-existing products. They're just national products like waters and teas, and we rebranded as TFT drinks, and that's actually increased the sales by 12%. There's another example here. So these days, it's very difficult to differentiate your commodity goods like teas and waters. But as Antonio mentioned earlier, this kind of social cause has become a brand, and people choose these products over others because they know they can help community by purchasing these products. So TFT now has become not only just a social movement, it has become a brand, a very attractive brand for those food and drink producers. People normally surprised that we run this organization by only 3 full-time people, including myself. So we need a lot of help from outside. First, we call it internal champions. There's always somebody, at least one person, who energized and passionate about our cause and our system in each of participating organization, and we call it internal champions. And their passion actually very contagious, and other employees want to follow. And they set very good examples, handing out brochures in front of the cafeteria. They come and talk to those nutritionists to design more attractive menus and all sorts of things. And to me, they're essentially like petite social entrepreneurs. There's also thousands of business people who signed up to volunteer for TFT, and one group came up with this concept of designing original TFT bento boxes and chopsticks, and they created this business from the scratch. So to me, it's amazing. And also, there's a student group called the TFT University Association. Currently, we have over 800 students signed up for this. And they, hosted TFT booth or like shop in school festivals. Some of the students who study nutrition came up with original, healthy menu for, their schools. So they are very, active and proactive, and they want to, participate. We received an application a few weeks ago from a student in California, and he's only 15 years old, 15, and we didn't even talk to him before application. He just, researched our website and understood the system. He talked to the headmaster, involved his friends, talked to cafeteria. He laid out everything and sent us application. This is like a 15-year-old like student. This is amazing. You know, this indicates like how accessible and how simple our system is. And to me, like, you know, he's a change maker. He can change the world in the future. Now this movement has spread across, goes beyond Japan. We have chapters in 3 cities, actually now 4 cities in the United States. New York, Washington DC, San Francisco, and we have a new chapter in LA. And last week I had a phone conference, and a group of people volunteered to have a chapter in Toronto, Canada. So we have 5 chapters in North America. Okay, 5 minutes, yeah. Some of the restaurants and hotels are doing TFT in North America. We are also active in Europe. Now, our basic concept is from east to west. There's not like successful social movement have entered the Western countries, born in the East, Japan or Korea. So we need help and support from you guys, basically. And we have one small active sort of activities in India. We have 1 restaurant in Taiwan, but it's not as big as in the West. So we need participation, especially from Korea. My book is published in Korean a month ago, and we are trying to sort of, grow in this country. And we also work very closely with media to spread the words about our movement. So we worked with the traditional mass media, but not only that, we hosted this kind of event. This was back in October. We called it 1 million itadakimasu. Itadakimasu meaning in Japanese bon appetit. So the concept is to sort of connect different groups of people all over the world at the noon of Global Food Day, we just call it itadakimasu at the same time. And we connected people in Japan and Seoul and San Francisco and New York. This is sort of our way of advertising our movement. The last P, it's a profit. This is the sort of the most biggest challenge we faced in Japan. Traditionally, Japanese people think, if you want to do something good to the society, just do it for free. Why do you take salary? But we're doing this professionally, so we have to earn money. So 20% out of the 25 cents, basically 5 cents, we take it for operating expense. But as I indicated, it's a very difficult challenge. Recipient size in Africa, we work with basically people, local people on the ground, and we selected the schools in these 3 countries. This is a village in Uganda called Ruhira, and with bean soup. And this is the food. This is a meal you can actually provide with 25 cents. And you recognize familiar face? This is a kid. This is a boy who lives in Ruhira, but he doesn't go to school. What he does, all day, he helps his parents farming. His parents are sustenance farmers, so they need help, they need laborers. So he doesn't go to school, helps his parents all day. And the thing he's holding is actually mango, and that's the only food he gets in a day. So he doesn't go to school, and that's the only food he can get. So that 25-cent meal, makes a huge difference. A kid like this can go to school because he knows there's a food at school, and also parents, if they know their kids will be fed by going to school, they're going to send their kids to school. So for the first time they have access to schools, And you see the huge difference with the faces of these children and the boy in the previous slide. So that this smile is also created by that 25 cents. It's the happiest faces. I want to show you one example. This is a new project we started in this year. This is a country called Ethiopia. And if you go to the northern side of Ethiopia, they are suffering from serious drought. It doesn't rain. And this used to be a forest. Tons of trees are there. But because of the global warming, they suffer this. This used to be river. This is quite disturbing photo. So there's no water. And this impacts the most. What impacts most with this is the farming, agriculture. It doesn't rain, so their production goes down. So in this village, there used to be a school feeding program, but they ended a few years ago because of the serious drought. And this is a family I visited. The bread, that's a traditional bread they eat in Ethiopia called I forgot the name. But this is also only meal they can have as in this family. So as a result, children have to go to school with empty stomach, not eating any food. And some kids actually collapse in a class, just pass out because they're too hungry. And I observed this back in February and said, this is insane. We gotta change this. So I went back to my country and raised my voice and asked corporation to more companies to participate. And by this September, we raised enough money to restart the school feeding program in this village. So this is one example how powerful our program is, and I'm sure there are villages like this in Asian countries. So with our system and people's passion, actions, we want to end these extreme poverty. And I think I just ran over the time. So this is my end of presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the introduction. I am Desapriya Sam Vijay Tunga from Sri Lanka. Very first, I am thankful to the organizers inviting me to do this presentation in this very important gathering. So Sri Lanka is a small island in the Indian Ocean near India. We are a country belongs to South Asia and then largely to the Asia. So Sri Lanka was colonized to Portuguese, Dutch and British since 1505 to 1948. So we got the independence in 1948. So during that period, last 32 years, Sri Lanka was highly affected by the continuous internal war, and a year and ago, the war was ended. So my presentation, I have been asked to talk about the general overview of the poverty in Sri Lanka related to the Millennium Development Goals, as well as a specific project which Sanpo is doing. It's a part of training and social entrepreneurship with the prisoners. So, relating to the Millennium Development Goals, the certain goals Sri Lanka has achieved or in line, that is especially for the goals like achieving universal primary education, promote gender equality and empower women, reduce child mortality, improve maternal health, combat HIV/AIDS, malaria and other diseases. But the ensure environmental sustainability as well as the eradicating of poverty, we have to achieve more. But I do not go into the major details. They are during to my time concentrate. But the all 7 goals. But I will go little more in that the target of the eradicating of extreme poverty and hunger. It's operate there. Excuse me. Let's get him moved with that. So under this poverty question, we have 2 targets. One is the target to have the number of people who live on less than $1 per day. The Sri Lanka has to bring down this number of the poor from 2 in every 8, at least to 1 in every 8 by 2015 under this Millennium Development Goals Achievement Program. The national average, however, hides regional differences. While in the Colombo, the capital, and the urban areas, comparatively the major parts of the country, the rural areas as well as the war-affected areas. So the challenges to promote the faster economic growth is a necessary condition for reducing poverty. However, it is not sufficient. It is also necessary that greater economic growth benefits the poor by creating sufficient employment and self-employment opportunities, ensuring that subsidies reach the most vulnerable households and promoting higher production and productivity in the sectors where poor are being employed, such as the agriculture sector. Poverty reduction programs should also aim to developing the most disadvantaged and poor areas, such as promoting investments in less developed regions, improving infrastructure, promoting the conservation and sustainable management of natural resources. Then the proportion of underweight children under 5 years is indicator used to monitor progress of the target 2, which is that target 2 is to have the proportion of people suffering from hunger. In Sri Lanka, this proportion has been declined since 1993. Today, the 3 in every 10 children under 5 years of age are underweight. At the current decline in trend, Sri Lanka is on track to reach the national target of 2 in every 10 children by 2015. The second indicator to monitor progress of target 2 is the proportion of people below the minimum level of dietary energy consumption. At present in Sri Lanka, 3 are to every 4 persons under the minimum level of dietary energy consumption. The challenge for Sri Lanka is to bring down this proportion to 1 person in every 4 in 2050. How do we measure progress towards the target? Though the following indicators. The key indicators for these targets are prevalence of underweight children under 5 years of age, proportion of population below minimum level of dietary energy consumption. It has been found that there is an inverse relationship between underweight children and their mother's education. While there is a direct relationship between malnutrition and low-income household, poor housing and sanitation and low birth weight. The critical period of Sri Lanka children is the first 18 months of their lives. Poor children and feeding practices, high morbidity and maternal malnutrition have been identified as key causes of child malnutrition. Poverty reduction and welfare service projects to supply cash supplements to 1.6 million females are needed. Provision of food and nutrition to internally displaced people in the northern and eastern conflict areas also another requirement. Challenges in this regard. One important challenge in reaching this target is to change the perception that is acceptable for women to neglect their own nutritional needs over the other family members. Social attitudes needs to change so that a mother can give priority to her own health while caring for her family. This is conjunction with poverty reduction programs, while in turn produce more healthy babies with higher birth weight, growing into better fed preschool children with fewer health issues. Gradually, the standard of health of the entire population can be improved. This is a little introduction about this poverty situation in Sri Lanka and the way forward to achieving Millennium Development Goals. I have been involved with the global campaign of action against poverty, the GCAP. GCAP in Sri Lanka, the GCAP in South Asia, as well as in GCAP in world, to working towards eliminating poverty and achieving Millennium Development Goals in the world. So, in this special project, what we are going to present today is that one of the SUNPO, the Sri Lanka United Nations Friendship Organization's activity within the prisoners. Prisoners in the prison system also is still running in the same audience created in 18th century by British rulers. Now only in the 2010. Now there are discussions and consultation committees to change the prison audience to suit the present needs. So SUNPO has built a center inside the country's major prison. It's called Valikada Prison in Colombo. That's mainly do certain the counseling, legal aid, and other social programs. In addition to that, we have selected 2 prisons in the country where the female inmates are in the Valikada prison, and other one is not called a major prison. That's called a place of correction center. That's Gangodavila Nivantana Nivase, they call Gangodavila Rehabilitation Home for Women. So both the 2 places we have selected for this social entrepreneurship project with the prisoners, prison women. The aims of this project are to provide comprehensive training that leads to a livelihood as a social entrepreneur or a skilled marketable person who is capable for a self-employment. B, to develop the person with earn financial savings in their personal bank account, which could be used after releasing from the prison's detention. We have seen that we have founded many of them doesn't have a bank account, even sometimes the identity card. In this program, we provide them bank accounts after they release from the prison. At least they have some money to restart the life. To rehabilitate the persons in prison detention by showing the care, understanding, love from the citizens of the society. We link the other people, influential or capable people, even students in the society, to visit the prisons and share the love and care with them. In addition, in the Valikada major prison, there are about 30 children also in, They are the children not convicted. They are the children because of their mother is in the prison below 5 years. Children have to keep according to Sri Lanka law with their mothers. They can't send them to a children home or any other place. So averagely about 25 to 30 children every time we can see in the prison. We have developed the facilities and provided different foods for those children, as well as getting the association with the children of different schools also with them. To provide an opportunity to understand their entrepreneurship talents and abilities and provide necessary guidance to rebuild a life as a good citizen after serving the prison detention period. To empower especially women in marginalized segments in the society who have ended up in prisons or these correction centers. We have noticed that majority of prisoners represents the population below that poverty level. Many of them have committed crimes due to reasons linked with poverty, such as no basic food, medicine, clothes and shelter, no proper education, no parental care, living in shanties and areas of where criminal activities happening. Many of the prisoners have to go back to same environment after ending their prison term, which may lead them again to do or link with same crimes and coming back to the prisons again and again. Poverty and illiteracy among prisoners. Even though Sri Lanka having a pre-education system and overall 95% literacy rate, it is well better comparatively other South Asian countries. Especially among prisoners, considerable amount in the category of illiterate in Gangodevilla as well as Velikada female prisons. It is higher than 80% of female prisoners are in the level of illiteracy. Although the country's literacy rate is up as 95%. Due to poverty, parents may not in a position to send those children to schools. Lack of proper education of parents, they don't value the education. They may not value the education and sending children to school. Sometimes child have to assist the family for earnings rather than going to school. We can see that due to the poverty, no chances to receive a quality formal education, and that leads them to end up in prisons for so many different circumstances faced by them. So resources to initiate that Velikada female prison, that what we do is the SUNPO mobilize necessary raw materials to produce, to train them and allow them to, or that putting them to produce different handicrafts. So that handicrafts are being sold after producing, so that the Gangodevilla Center, that is called the Rehabilitation Center, that is our project is getting some bulk materials of different curry powders and the forging, labeling, measuring, cleaning and manufacturing packets of that food items in various sizes and various weights, and these things are putting into a country's one of the largest retail market network. That the products of there are the raw curry powder, roasted curry powder, chili powder, chili pieces, pepper powder, turmeric powder, Maldivian fish pieces, katta sambal bottles, seeni sambal, chili paste, ginger powder, cinnamon powder, mustard powder, sweets and bites. These products are being sold in different ways. That Gangodevilla, the products, this curry powder and this associated food product are mainly and only sending to this market network of, that's called the Laksadosa, the Sri Lanka's, the largest and biggest same outlet network. And the other one is this handicrafts in Velikada normally sales to, there are prison welfare shops and some of these exhibitions and other different marketplaces. So that's the benefit, means that the prisoners getting used to their time and they get the training and they get some type of capital or money with the bank account while they are getting released. And the benefit for the society, it's been that we try to produce a good citizen out of that and change their lifestyle and give them a different recognition. The different programs also initiated and conducting with this social entrepreneurship program. That is, there are some events, exhibitions, cultural shows with the prisoners, and we invite some society leaders. Once we invited the wife of the President of Sri Lanka to see the project and be with the women prisoners, and different people from the corporate sector and the business sector and the social sector we invite to associate with them. And we provide them certain certificates, recognition and opportunities to become good citizens. Somehow there are success stories, some have become good entrepreneurs in their villages. They start packaging those same products or producing these items and selling in different areas in the country. Even some have got an opportunity to go overseas, and some joined major companies because they got the links and they get to know different people. So that project helped to change a lot in the lifestyles, and there are many problems also to grow the project, especially the lack of space inside the prison system. Sri Lanka prisons are mainly highly overcrowded, and there are systems that we put the both drug addicts and the prisoners together. So that's when the normal some good persons who are not using drugs, getting used to drugs within the system, or some are getting to part of the gang leaders, crime gangs also. So out of that, all these problems, we are managing this program. In addition to that, this program, many social services also we have initiated in the prison system. In the Gangodavilla, we built a place of meditation, or like we call Buddha shrine. In addition, that Gangodavilla, annually we take them for 2 outside trips. Trips, it's a fun activity. So many other social services initiated. In the major main prison also, for male inmates also, we conducted selected 20 people some full business development course, how to start a business. That's for selected some educated prisoners who have been graduates or passed A levels, and that 20, some ex-army officers who have vacated during the war and end up in the prisons, and those people we got those trainings also. So there are so many other activities involved in that project. So I think my time also limited and already over, and I invite your cooperation and to initiate similar projects or programs in whole part of Asia, to consider our social entrepreneurship programs to the prisoners also. Thank you very much.
Okay, everybody up. Up. It's getting long, so you got to just warm it up, okay? Before we talk about a little bit about Ashoka, I wanted to share one thing to show you how dedicated and how absolutely passionate our social entrepreneurs here. The table I was sitting at, every person has their computer on working. while they're listening with one ear, they're working with the other and with their hands. So it's fantastic in terms of multitasking. Okay, you can sit down now. 안녕하세요. 한국에서 2년 반 지냈습니다. 평화봉 사탄 있습니다. People know what the Peace Corps is? I will not bore you with the rest of my Korean because my English is much better, but it's great to be home. And my wife and I thoroughly enjoyed our 2.5 years here many, many years ago. Let's talk a bit about Ashoka. Bill Drayton, nearly 30 years ago, created the term social entrepreneur. So think of the change that we've had just in the last 5 years or less. This term, behind me, social entrepreneur, has now become a term that is recognized and understood in most societies in the world. That was not true 5 years ago. So the people in this room are making major change. They're change makers right now just by viewing the understanding which society has of what we're doing. Ashoka has a very modest mission. We want to change the world. We want to shape a global, entrepreneurial, competitive citizen sector, or social sector, that allows social entrepreneurs, people in this room, to thrive and inspires others to think and act as change makers. We'd like to have a world in which everyone's a change maker. And this doesn't mean everybody is making huge changes. Not everyone is a Muhammad Yunus or a Wendy Kopp or an Anji. But everybody can respond to social challenges and can change aspects of their lives where they feel empowerment and they feel societal support to address any social problem and drive change. How Ashoka does it is actually pretty simple. First of all, we support social entrepreneurs, and how we do that is to find them and then do a very, very extensive evaluation process. There are 3 Ashoka fellows, we call them fellows, in the room today. And ask any one of them how many interviews they've had, and they'll tell you too many in terms of going through the process with Ashoka. But if we identify them, hopefully at early stages, and then support them, in essence, pay a salary for up to 3 years while they get their idea going, while they start to implement their idea. So we don't invest in projects or working capital or buildings. Our investment's in people. And frankly, I'm a businessman, and it's the best social ROI I can imagine is when we're investing in a social entrepreneur rather than building a school or a hospital or whatever it might be, because you get a huge return on that investment. Secondly, after finding these social entrepreneurs, we promote group entrepreneurship. We have a network. People are talking to each other. So when people are worrying about what am I doing in Africa or rural development, they talk to a fellow who's doing something similar in India or in Brazil or in South Africa. And last, we build an infrastructure for the sector. You can tell that I'm not very good at making slides. But this is a global network for change makers, which it has tools and supporting systems to deliver sustainable solutions. This is how it looks like. Social entrepreneurs, group entrepreneurship, and then infrastructure for the citizen sector. But social entrepreneurs by themselves can't do it. We need to have a system whereby you have leading social entrepreneurs which are pioneering new ideas to solve social problems. And these social problems, they change entire fields. So what Ashoka is about is systemic change. Not helping one village eat better, but changing an agricultural system so an entire country can eat. These leading social entrepreneurs inspire the rest of us. They inspire other change makers to make many, many changes in our lives and will multiply and tip the sector. Ashoka is not funded by any governments. Ashoka is funded by a lot of entrepreneurs who've made it big, many of the names you know. Bill Gates, Pierre Omidyar, so forth. And corporations are also supporting us, and they understand that the types of change makers who we are helping train and identify are exactly the kind of people that they need to succeed in the future. So think about this. What we're doing in this room is not just talking about social issues, it's talking about a fundamental attitude which all aspects of society can benefit. And these include any business person wants to have problem solvers, strong team players, entrepreneurial initiative takers, and empathetic leaders, people who have empathy. And there are just some of the examples. In a year, I hope we have some Korean companies up there, okay? But this is just Nike, Ben & Jerry's, Staples, Starbucks. There's many, many, many more. Universities are also very interested in social entrepreneurship and in having everybody a change maker. They increasingly seek out applicants who take leadership roles in change on campus. They're collegial team players, and they're going to be successful because they know how to deal with people well. They know how they have empathy, and they have vision for what they want to do in the future. And we have partner universities, and this is just a small list with Duke, New York, Howard, Cornell, Johns Hopkins. Hopefully, I want to have again some Korean universities up there as quickly as we can. This is just an example of the billboards that we use. This is at Arizona State. That there's an Everyone a Changemaker campus, so you get an entire university campus that's involved in change making. Last slide from our good friend Muhammad Yunus, who is an advisor for Ashoka and a great supporter. Great global organization built on a brilliant idea. Let's join me in being a change maker. Everybody in the room, and then you influence 10 people, and we'll change the world. Thank you.